It was perfect, just perfect. That's what my roommate said about her breakup gift, but when I found her crying in a lab chair with electrodes in her skull, I realized we'd all been programmed. Until now, I have never thought I would post something like this. But after what I discovered 3 days ago, I can't stay quiet anymore. My name is Madison, I'm 22 and a pre-med student at a university I once thought was respectable. I was wrong about my school, my boyfriend, and everything in between. 6 months ago, I started dating Alexander Sterling, Lex to everyone. He's 24, heir to a pharmaceutical fortune, and at first glance, perfect. APA getaways, yacht weekends, designer gifts, but what made me fall for him wasn't the money. It was how kind he seemed. Genuinely kind. Then came the fresh start packages. Lex has this habit. After every breakup, he gives his exes massive payouts, $50,000 to $100,000, plus luxury gifts like Cartier bracelets, designer bags, even vintage Rolexes. He always says, "I just don't want anyone to feel like they wasted time with me." At first, it sounded noble. My roommates thought it was incredible. Zoe dated him last year and got enough money to erase her student loans. Riley studied abroad on Lex's dime. Amber walked away with a Tiffany necklace and $75K. They spoke about him like he was a saint. "Even if it doesn't work out, he'll take care of you," Zoe told me once, absent-mindedly touching her bracelet. I should have questioned how they all said almost the same thing. I should have wondered why smart, independent women were okay with being paid off. But I didn't. I was broke, overwhelmed with school applications, and watching my dad work double shifts to keep our family clinic open. Financial stability felt like a lifeline. Then last Tuesday happened. I was in the library researching neurological disorders when I saw Victoria Hayes, a psychology PhD student I vaguely recognized, carrying what looked like medical equipment toward a restricted basement section. Her secretive, focused expression made me follow her. Downstairs was nothing like the rest of campus. Sterile white halls, hums of machines. Through a cracked door, I saw what looked like a clinical lab, brain scanners, IVs, neural monitors, and 3 women in chairs, electrodes on their heads. I recognized one, Sarah Mitchell, another of Lex's exes. Her face twitched, smiling, frowning, confusion, like someone was switching channels inside her mind. Victoria adjusted controls as if orchestrating her emotions. I snapped photos and slipped away, shaking. Victoria wasn't just a psych student, she was running some kind of human experiment, and Lex's ex-girlfriends were involved. Back in my dorm, everything looked different. Zoe stroked her bracelet obsessively while browsing overpriced skincare. Riley checked her Rolex every few minutes. Amber was planning luxury vacations, way out of character for someone usually obsessed with coupons. I asked about their gifts. Zoe went distant and dreamy. It was perfect, just perfect. Riley couldn't remember where she got her watch. Amber swore her necklace was a graduation gift, though she hadn't graduated yet. They also developed bizarre obsessions. Zoe with $300 French moisturizers. Riley only drank water from a niche premium brand. Amber insisted on food from a specific organic supplier. When I questioned them, they got defensive. It just feels right. Something was wrong. So I did the unthinkable. I searched Lex's apartment while he was in class. Hidden in his closet was a box filled with medical files, psychological profiles, photos, dozens of women, including my roommates. Each file had notes, dates, and something labeled behavioral modification success rate. And one had my name. It was thick. Pages detailing my dad's clinic, our financial struggles, my academic goals, childhood memories, even my worst fears. I wasn't just dating Lex. I'd been studied, monitored, targeted. One note chilled me to the bone. Primary candidate for Phase 3 implementation. Family medical background provides perfect cover for advanced neurological programming. I confronted Lex that night. I showed him the photos. At first, he looked shocked. Then his hand grazed his always-worn headphones, and his expression went blank. "You're obviously stressed about school," he said robotically. "Maybe it's time we discussed your fresh start package. I was thinking $100,000, maybe something from Cartier. You'd love their new bracelet collection." His tone, scripted, rehearsed, inhuman. That's when it hit me. Lex might be a victim too. A puppet, used to recruit and deliver targets to whatever experiment Victoria's running. I'm writing this from my childhood bedroom. I told my parents I just needed rest, but the truth is I'm terrified. My roommates keep texting me with the same sugary tone they once used about Lex. It's like their personalities are fading, overwritten by something else. I've been researching behavioral conditioning, neurological implants, pharmaceutical mind control. What I'm uncovering is horrifying and suggests what I saw might just be one piece of something far larger and more dangerous. Tomorrow, I'm going to speak to my father, Dr. Carlos Torres. He's run a family clinic for 2 decades. If anyone can help me understand what's happening to these women, it's him. I know how all this sounds, like paranoia, but what if I'm not imagining it? What if Lex, the man I thought I loved, was created, crafted as part of this experiment? What if I'm next? So, Reddit, am I losing it, or did I just uncover something real and deadly? Update 1, hey Reddit. It's been 4 days since my original post, and I wish I could say things have gotten better. They haven't. They've gotten worse, so much worse, that I'm not even sure I'm safe anymore. But I can't stop now. Too many lives are at stake. First, thank you, seriously. To everyone who commented, DMed, or just offered support, you have no idea how much it meant. A few of you asked questions I hadn't thought to ask. One user told me to dig into my family's medical records. Another warned me to stay off campus. Someone else sent me information on recent missing persons reports from nearby universities. That last one, it may have saved my life. The morning after my post, I went to my dad's clinic. I brought everything: printouts of the photos I took in Victoria's lab, files from Lex's apartment, notes I'd scribbled in panic. My father, Dr. Carlos Torres, has been a family physician for over 2 decades. I've never seen him look as shaken as he did that morning. Mija, he said softly, after flipping through the images, you need to see something. He took me into his private office and pulled out a thick file labeled Neurological Anomalies, Young Adults, 2022-2024. Inside were 17 case studies. 17 young adults, ages 19 to 25, all from wealthy families. All presenting with the same bizarre symptoms: short-term memory loss, sudden compulsive brand loyalty, emotional numbness, and unexplained shifts in personality. I've been documenting these cases for months, he told me. They don't fit into any known condition. These kids appear fine during checkups, but their families, they're terrified. One day their daughter's shy and frugal, and the next she's obsessively buying luxury products and claiming she deserves better. It's like someone flipped a switch. That alone was chilling. But then he showed me the name at the top of the last file: Diego Torres, age 19, my brother. I stared at it in disbelief. Dad, Diego's been in Barcelona for almost 2 years. He's studying international business. My father's face darkened. That's what we've all been told. But Madison, I haven't actually spoken to your brother in 6 months. He won't answer my video calls. The last few messages, they came from email and text, and they just don't sound like him. He opened his phone and showed me Diego's most recent texts. They were unnaturally formal. Clean grammar, 0 typos, phrases like all is well on my end and I'm thriving in this new environment. Not a single slang word, emoji, or typo, not like Diego at all. There's more, Dad said grimly. You remember Isabella, Diego's girlfriend from 2 years ago? The last time anyone saw him was right after a coffee date near her campus. He pulled up grainy security footage from outside that cafe. My stomach twisted. There he was, Diego, smiling, holding hands with Isabella. And then a woman approached, elegant, well-dressed, in her 50s. She handed Diego a small box. 3 hours later, Diego texted our family that he'd been unexpectedly accepted into a prestigious Barcelona program and would be flying out that night. No goodbye, no visit, just gone. I recognized the woman instantly. Dr. Helena Cross, Dean of Student Affairs at my university. That moment broke something in me. Dad, are you saying Diego never left? I asked, my voice barely audible. I don't know where he is, Dad replied. But I'm starting to believe he didn't go willingly. And I think whatever's happening to your boyfriend and his ex-girlfriends, it's connected. We spent hours combing through case notes. The pattern was undeniable. High-performing young adults, usually from wealthy or well-connected families, gifted luxury items after odd encounters with university-affiliated figures. Then came the behavior shifts. Then the disappearances, or in some cases, complete emotional rewrites. That night, I reached out to someone I trusted, Marcus Millers, a childhood friend who's now studying computer science at another university. I didn't want to involve anyone from my school, too risky. I told Marcus everything over an encrypted video call. He didn't laugh. He didn't call me paranoid. Madison, he said after a long pause, this sounds like a full-scale psych ops program. Whoever's behind this, they're funded, protected, and probably monitoring everything. Marcus offered to dig into the tech behind it all. Within 24 hours, he found something horrifying. The luxury gifts Lex gave, Cartier bracelets, Rolexes, Tiffany necklaces, each contained micro-components. At first glance, nothing unusual. But when he cross-checked the parts against consumer product databases, they didn't match. These devices weren't factory standard. They're not just trackers, Marcus told me. They're wearable behavioral modulators. They emit frequencies that influence mood, suggest buying behavior, even suppress emotional resistance. In simple terms, they're portable brain control devices. He wasn't finished. Marcus hacked into the university's internal systems. Turns out, Dr. Helena Cross isn't just the dean. She's listed as lead investigator on at least 3 government-funded research grants totaling over $50 million. The funding agencies? Obscure names that Marcus traced back to U.S. contractors specializing in psychological warfare and crowd control tech. Madison, he said flatly, your university is a testing ground. Your brother and those other study abroad kids, they're long-term test subjects. That night I made a decision. I'm going back to campus, but not as Madison the confused girlfriend. I'm going back as someone who knows what's going on and is ready to burn it to the ground. I've started building what I call the antidote. A resistance network. Dad's on board, he's documenting symptoms, analyzing compounds. Marcus is monitoring all digital traffic, encrypting our communications, and helping me track active targets. We've already made contact with 3 other families who believe their children disappeared under similar circumstances. But the part that keeps me up at night? Lex. He's not just another test subject. He's something else, something more advanced. I've been replaying every conversation we've had. Every time he offers me money or talks about taking care of me, it always follows the same sequence. He touches those headphones, then the tone of his voice changes. He starts using brand names, scripted phrases. He's not being mind-controlled. He is the control system. The scariest part, he's begun hinting at marriage, talking about our future. Imagine the life I could give you, Madison, he said 2 weeks ago. You'd never have to worry again. Tomorrow, I'm going to pretend to accept his proposal. I'll smile, I'll play along, but behind the scenes, I'll be digging, looking for Diego, gathering more evidence, watching Lex like a hawk. My mission now has a name, Operation Clean Slate. Marcus is building a secure off-grid server to store everything we uncover. Dad is testing chemical blockers that might reverse some of the neurotech manipulation. We're building a way to take this whole network down before it consumes anyone else. And before I forget, there's one more thing. Right before I left campus, I told my roommates I was going home for a few days. None of them asked why. None of them even blinked. Instead, they all said the exact same phrase. Take the time you need, Madison. Everything will work out perfectly. In that same dreamy, detached voice they use when they talk about Lex. Now I'm wondering, are they even still themselves? Or are they part of the system now, monitoring me, manipulating me? I'll update again when I return to campus. If something happens, if I disappear, Marcus knows what to do. The data we've collected will go straight to every major outlet we can reach. Wish me luck, Reddit. I'm scared. But I'm ready. This isn't just about me anymore. It never was. Update 2. Reddit, I'm writing this from a secure location because what I discovered 3 days ago has turned my world upside down. I need to get this out there in case something happens to me. I went back to campus Monday, playing the loving girlfriend. Lex was waiting with my roommates, all wearing bright smiles that didn't reach their eyes. The moment I walked in, I knew something had changed. Madison, Zoe exclaimed, touching her Cartier bracelet. We missed you so much. Everything feels right now that you're back. Riley nodded, checking her Rolex. Lex has been so worried. He has something special planned. They spoke in perfect synchronization, finishing each other's thoughts, but what terrified me most was Lex himself. He looked exhausted but smiled unnaturally bright as he pulled me into a hug. I can't live without you, Madison. Will you marry me? He dropped to one knee, pulling out a ring box. My roommates started crying tears of joy, clapping in perfect unison. The whole scene felt choreographed. I said yes to maintain my cover, but noticed the ring was heavier than normal, with a tiny LED light embedded in the band. That night at dinner, Lex kept touching his headphones every few minutes, and each time his conversation would shift. He'd go from honeymoon plans to suggesting I transfer to a different medical school with better programs for my potential. There's this amazing research opportunity, he said with distant eyes. Dr. Cross mentioned it specifically. She thinks you'd be perfect for their Advanced Neurological Studies program. My blood ran cold. Dr. Helena Cross wanted me in her research program. Meanwhile, Marcus had made a breakthrough. He discovered the university's network connected to a private server farm 20 miles from campus, modified with medical-grade infrastructure, operating rooms, patient housing, laboratory space. Madison, I think that's where they're keeping the missing students, Marcus told me. The power consumption matches a medical facility housing multiple patients on intensive monitoring. I met with Dr. Cross that afternoon. Her office walls were covered with awards and photos of her with government officials and pharmaceutical executives. Alexander tells me you're interested in our advanced research program, she said, with calculating eyes. Your family's medical background makes you an ideal candidate. She handed me information about the future of neurological medicine, promising to revolutionize treatment through innovative technological integration. The compensation was $500,000 for 2 years, plus a $1 million completion bonus. I'll need time to consider, I said carefully. Of course, though Alexander is quite eager for you to join. He believes it would be perfect for both your futures together. That evening, I made the most dangerous decision of my life. Using Marcus's building schematics, I drove to the industrial complex. I managed to peer through a window into what appeared to be a medical wing. Rows of hospital beds, each occupied by a young person connected to machines and monitors. I recognized several faces from missing person reports. They appeared unconscious or heavily sedated, with electrodes attached to their heads and IV lines in their arms. But the most horrifying sight was in the center, a woman who looked exactly like Lex, but older. She was connected to more equipment than the others, her head partially shaved with surgical scars. A placard read, Subject Alpha Long-Term Neurological Integration Study. Lex's mother. The woman who supposedly died when he was 12. She was alive, Dr. Cross's test subject for over a decade. I took photos before security guards appeared and I had to run. When I got back to my dorm, my roommates were waiting with concerned expressions, actively trying to manipulate me back into compliance. Marcus analyzed my photos and confirmed our worst fears. That facility is holding at least 40 people. The equipment is designed for long-term neurological monitoring and modification. We're talking about complete personality reconstruction. The funding wasn't just from pharmaceutical companies, it came from a classified government program developing civilian behavioral management technology. My university was just the testing ground before rolling it out on a larger scale. Yesterday, I decided to accept Dr. Cross's offer, but not as a victim. I'm going in as a saboteur, with Marcus providing technical support and my father standing by with medical expertise. Tomorrow night is our engagement party at the University Alumni Center. Dr. Cross invited hundreds of guests, including parents of missing students and current test subjects. Marcus believes she's planning to activate all control devices simultaneously, demonstrating her technology for investors and government officials. But we have a plan. My father developed a compound to neutralize the behavioral modification chemicals, and Marcus found a way to disrupt the electronic components in the jewelry and headphones. The engagement party will become our final confrontation. Either we free everyone trapped by this system, or we die trying. If you don't hear from me again, Marcus has instructions to release everything to authorities and media. Please don't let this story die. Update 3. Reddit, I'm alive. Barely, but I'm alive. The engagement party 3 nights ago turned into something that will probably make headlines for months. Marcus and my father are heroes. Without them, none of us would have made it out alive, and Dr. Helena Cross would still be running her horrific experiments. The party was held at the university's Alumni Center. Dr. Cross had invited over 300 guests, university donors, pharmaceutical executives, government officials, and dozens of parents whose children had gone missing. Every person who'd received one of Lex's generous breakup packages was there, wearing their control devices. I arrived with Lex, who seemed more programmed than ever. He kept touching his headphones and speaking in that rehearsed tone. My roommates were positioned strategically around the room like beautiful guards. Tonight is going to be magical, Zoe said, stroking her bracelet as she handed me champagne. The champagne tested positive for neurological suppressants, so I didn't drink it. Around 9, Dr. Cross took the stage. Tonight, you're going to witness something extraordinary, a demonstration of technology that will revolutionize how we understand and guide human behavior. She displayed brain scans and behavioral charts. For 5 years, we've been perfecting neurological influence that can reshape personality and create ideal citizens. The young people around you represent successful implementation. On cue, everyone wearing control devices, my roommates, Lex's exes, even Lex began moving in perfect synchronization to designated positions, their expressions vacant but alert. Phase 1 involved simple behavioral modification. Tonight, we begin Phase 2 mass activation for our investors and government partners. She was going to demonstrate mass mind control on the entire room, but as she reached for a master control device, every light went out. Emergency lighting bathed everything in red. "She's been experimenting on your children," I shouted. "The missing students are being held at a facility 20 miles from here." Chaos erupted. Parents demanded answers, security moved toward me, but Dr. Cross's control device wasn't working. Marcus had disrupted the signals. "You have no idea what you've done," Dr. Cross snarled as guards grabbed me. "This technology could have solved every social problem. Crime, addiction, political unrest, all eliminated." My father stepped forward with FBI agents and parents who'd been working with law enforcement for months. "By turning people into slaves," he said firmly. The next hours were arrests, medical examinations, and emergency rescues. Marcus used their computer systems to locate and unlock the facility holding missing students. The most emotional moment came when Lex, free from his headphones, broke down completely. "Madison, I don't know what's real anymore. I can't remember who I was before." I held him as he cried. "We'll figure it out together." The rescue was successful but heartbreaking. 43 young people were found, including Diego and Lex's mother. Diego was conscious but confused with memory gaps. Lex's mother had severe neurological damage from decades of experimentation. Victoria Hayes turned out to be another victim, programmed to believe she was conducting legitimate research. When freed, she collapsed and needed hospitalization. Government officials and pharmaceutical executives funding the program are under federal investigation. Dr. Cross's research was part of a much larger network of illegal human experimentation. My roommates and other victims are receiving treatment. The process of reversing neurological changes is slow, but most show recovery signs. Zoe threw away her bracelet and cried for hours when she realized what happened. Lex and I aren't engaged anymore. How could we be when neither knows who we really are? But we're working together, using his resources to fund victim treatment and support investigations. The real Lex is nothing like the programmed version. He's quiet, thoughtful, and deeply angry. "I want to make sure this never happens to anyone else," he said yesterday. Diego is slowly recovering memories, though some may never return. He remembers thinking he was going to study abroad, then everything becomes fuzzy until waking up in the facility. I'm starting medical school with a new focus: neurological rehabilitation for mind control victims. My father is expanding his clinic to include research on behavioral modification effects. Dr. Cross faces charges including kidnapping, human trafficking, and illegal medical experiments. She shows no remorse, insisting her research could have optimized human society. But here's what haunts me: we only found one facility. Marcus's investigation suggests there are others, possibly dozens, scattered across the country. Dr. Cross's program was just one branch of something much larger. The real Lex asked me something yesterday I can't stop thinking about. How many people are living programmed lives without knowing it? How many choices we think we're making are actually being made for us? I don't have answers, but I'll spend my life trying to find them. If there are other Dr. Crosses, other facilities, other victims, we're going to find them too. Thank you, Reddit, for believing my story. Without this community's support, I might have given up. You helped save dozens of lives.